It's time for Socktober. Let the chaos commence. A quick recap. If you do not already know what we're doing this October we shall be knitting as many socks as we can, following the principle of utter chaos. For that principle, we shall be helped by my trusty D20, who will determine which of these 20 yarns will get a place in my sock and how many rows that will be. This is a collaboration, so in the playlist Roll for Socktober you will also find my friends who are doing a similar approach to Socktober, however, all a little bit of a different flavor. So let's get into it. It is October 1st, 7:30 in the morning. I could not sleep, I could not wait. I am so excited. I'm also a little bit stuffy, if you could hear that. Let's roll. Let's just get right into it. Ha! That's a natural 20. I don't know if you can see this. Really, my dice is really pretty, but maybe not the best for filming. Maybe I should buy an extra set of clicky-clacky math rocks just for filming, and then I can keep this for my Pathfinder games. Anyway, natural 20, so we're starting with this beautiful green. Now hoping it is not entirely at the end of the bag. It's not in the bag. Where did I put that yarn? Just a sec. Chaos has already commenced, as you see. Found it! Now for a second roll, how many rows? 13. That's a nice number to start with. I'm currently knitting a very basic sock pattern, just one of the free ones that you can find on Garn Studio or Ravelry, wherever. I will link it, however, in the description, because there is always people that ask for patterns in the comments. So if you were, for some reason, in search of a very basic sock pattern, you will find it down in the description box. Now, for those of you who are screaming at me, Jente, why aren't you knitting 2 socks at the same time? You will never be able to replicate this first sock perfectly. I'm saying yes, exactly. If you didn't know, that was my plan. I am making purposefully unmatched matching socks. Every sock will be different, but since they are all made out of the same 20 yarns, they will look the same. And this is why I can continue after 2 socks, and if I have 3 at the end of October, perfect. If I have 5, even better. And I can just mix and match all those socks together. They will be the same basic pattern, but they will be completely different in colors. But since the colors are the same, they will also look like they match. I mean, that at least is my theory. Could be that I am wrong in the end, and it will be the ugliest amalgamation of socks that you have ever seen, but then that is also a result. However, since we started on a natural 20, I think that's a very auspicious start that tells us these socks will be good. Good! I will differ slightly from the pattern in that it says I only have to do 4 rounds of ribbing, and I really like knitting and the aesthetics of ribbing, so I'm going to go a little bit more ribbing. I think I'm just going to double it and go with 8 rows of ribbing. Just 4 rows of ribbing, that's... You don't even see the ribbing. 4 rows. And there we go. 13 rows of our first color. And now I have to hurry myself down to hell. Work. I'll see you probably tomorrow, because after work I'll be going to a concert. I haven't planned my life around Socktober, and maybe that was a mistake. Roll number 2. I promise you, you don't have to watch the tedious process of me rolling every single row of this sock, or these multiple socks. But it's just the beginning, we're just starting out, so now we're still excited, so now we're going to film the entire roll again. 19! Ooh, that's a very good skein. This is 19. Yeah, we're getting into crazy territory already. Now, how many rows of this? 9. Nice. And now that I'm switching colors, I'm also doing a little bit of a simultaneous weaving in action while I knit, so that at the end of October I don't end up with like 2 trillion ends to weave in, because that would completely demotivate me. Look, just need to one more time and then that green is gone. Oh, 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 oh. Eh. I've been calling this first color green. And I know you will all be screaming at me, Jente, that's not green, that's teal, or at least some kind of blue, turquoise. Well, in Flemish, it actually has a funny name. It's only in Flemish, it's not standard Dutch. In Flemish, we call this color appelblauw zeegroen, which you can translate to apple blue sea green, which is of course a nonsensical word because apples aren't blue. It's a word that stems from Flemish pop culture. Like in the 1970s, the comic The Kiekeboes had an issue of the comic in which they imitated the Green Michelin Guide, but since they didn't want to call it the Green Guide because that would be copyright infringement, they said it was the Apple Blue Sea Green Guide. And it stuck. Flemish people all over Flanders know exactly what you mean when you say something is apple blue sea green. Here we go, 9 rows of color 19. I would personally never have put these two colors together instinctively, but I think this is actually such a beautiful start of this sock. Oh yeah, that natural 20 in the beginning, that was an auspicious sign. We're going to have a pretty sock. Look at it, I mean, that's such a good combination actually. Let's see if we don't entirely ruin it with color number 3. Color number 3 is the number 3. And that is this yarn, which we shall be knitting for 5 rows. The first handspun has entered the chat. After this 1 row of bright yellow, we will now have to do 15 rows of this, well, bonte schaap. If I remember correctly, then this yarn is older than this channel. This is, I think, the first sock yarn that I spun on Bernadette. Like, Bernadette was my first wheel. And then I got Rachel, like the Wernicking Delft, a very workhorse kind of wheel. And I've forgotten about the joy of spinning on Bernadette until just one evening I randomly started spinning a bit of this bonte schaap, or Dutch spotted sheep, in the grease and just added some colors to it, and I realized, wow, Bernadette is the perfect wheel for like lace and sock yarns. So ever since, she is my thin spinning queen. And I think it's just so fun to have a sock with all these colors, but also with all these stories. Like this yarn, it's probably like 4 years old. A sock with colors and stories. And at first I thought that the dark, almost black gray would start ruining my sock. Like, I am feeling that there will be a point in knitting this sock that ruins the sock. Like, we started off so good and one color is just going to ruin it, but it's not this dark gray. No, actually, because everything else is so bright, it gives a nice balance. Well, but I'm only 5 rows far, so let's see what the other 10 do. These 15 rows do have me doubting a little bit if I had better chosen the D12 for rows. Because I want a lot of colors, not big stripes. I don't know. It's too late now. I'm going to continue with my plan of double rolling the D20. But yeah, could you imagine if I had rolled the natural 20 on the rows for this grey, then like the entire leg of the sock would be grey almost? Well, that's a risk I will have to live with now. And right now I'm just really hoping to get another really bright color just to contrast this again, because it's a lot of gray. It's not bad, still liking the sock, but I would like a bright color again. Let's see if my wishes come true. 15. What is color 15? Yes, yellow. Very good. Oh my god, I just jinxed myself, didn't I? Now I have to do yellow for 19 rows. Help! Said help. I don't think I will have to roll 4 rows next time I roll this color. That was, of course, a secondary goal of this project, to get rid of my scraps. So, well, this has been successful. 19 rows of yellow. I have also now decided that I can re-roll my colors if I have the same color twice in a row, because I really do not want my stripes to get bigger than this. Yeah, this is about the maximum amount that I want in my, yeah, you know, technically 1 more row is possible when I roll a natural 20, but not much broader than this. That would be ridiculous. So yeah, but it's not going to happen with this yellow, that's for sure. We're in a handspun streak. This is the 3rd handspun in a row. This one, if you remember, is from my knee-high lace socks that I made, I think, like 2 years ago. It's Sunday, October 5th, and I am about to make the toe of my sock. Yeah, I need to keep up my reputation of being able to knit 2 pairs of socks in 2 weeks, right? Also, just, it's the excitement of wanting to know what comes next that makes me go. I have, however, had to put another rule in place, and that is that one color cannot be in one sock more than 3 times, because color number 6, remember this one, the very old handspun, is also over here and then again over here. I almost have no color number 6 left. And if I want my socks to be kind of matching in the end, then there should be at least one other sock that has some color 6 in it. Because otherwise this would just be a color 6 sock and very much color 6, and no other socks would have that color in it. I'm also a little bit surprised that even though I have at least 2 purple yarns and 3 green yarns, yeah, the only purple I have is this little bit over here. Like, this doesn't count, this is a variegated yarn. I had not expected the outcome of my socks to look like this. I thought it would be more green, less gray. But all in all, it still is, I mean, a cool looking sock. I am happy with it. Ta-da! Our first sock from Roll for Socktober is done, October 5th. What can I say about this sock? I like the top part, the leg part, a lot more than the foot part, which is good because the leg part is the one that other people will see as well when I wear them. Yeah, I feel like this foot part is just big blocks. I don't know how else to describe, but it's just, even though these are like 3 different rolls, they blend too much together, so my foot just looks like really big stripes and not entirely what I was going for. I mean, not the feel that I was going for. Like, this also are pretty big stripes, but I don't know, they feel more chaotic and different in sizes, and yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way about it. But this is my first sock, yeah. Now, let me tell you that we did not use color 4, not used color 5, not color 7, not color 9, not color 12. I also don't think 13, 14 was used. 16 wasn't used either. And for 11, we only have one row. So there is still so much possibility of getting an entire different sock. If like the next rolls are only those colors, then yeah, we're going to get an entirely different sock. Anyway, I'm excited. This is just cast on. And the cast on shall happen with color 8. That is funny, because that's the color I just ended my toe with. But okay, I still have it near me. And we shall be knitting it for 8 rows. Are we going to have a repeat of the number 6 for this sock, but then number 8? Well, I don't know, let's see. 8 rows of number 8. Woohoo! I get to follow up with one of the colors that I did not use in my first sock. Yes, we're finally going for color 5, this beautiful Malabrigo. I really should stop saying like half predictive kind of stuff, because apparently when I do so, it bites me in the butt. Like with the previous sock about how it's always going to be a lot of rows per color and then immediately rolling 19. Do you remember that just a couple of seconds ago I said that number 8 was going to rival number 6? I've got 3 colors and 2 of them are number 8. RNG gods, why are you torturing me? It's pretty. It's a super pretty combination, like 8 and 5, but yeah. Phew. And we rolled another 6, which at least will mean that sock number 2 will fit with sock number 1 because color number 6 is in there. However, I have rolled that I should do 9 rows with color number 6. Pretty sure we're not going to make it, and that after this bit I will have to replace color number 6 with a new color number 6. Apparently I still had a little bit of color 6 in my scraps box. I don't know how it got past me when collecting all of my scraps to make my bag, but yay, we still have color 6! Not that I like this color very much, but since it is so prominent in that first sock, I don't know, I feel like it kind of should be like the red thread throughout all the socks to make them match. I don't know. But we still have more. I'm about to embark on 20 rows, yes, another natural 20, of color 5. So another color repeat within the same leg of this sock. And just looking at it, you know, friends, they couldn't possibly be more different unless if I didn't have color 6 in this one. Ah, that's amazing actually, how different these two socks look while they come from the same selection of yarns. Peak chaos is what I say. What I also say is that I am really enjoying this project. I am actually contemplating making this a weekly vlog because I am really enjoying vlogging this experience, just because I like the experience. It's every time a surprise, it's fascinating how these socks turn out. Literally, I have been getting up earlier to work on this. I am so locked in this Socktober thing. Yeah, maybe I will do weekly vlogs of this. It is now Monday. I think I will do Tuesday and then maybe Wednesday as well, and then publish it next week. And maybe you could tell me in the comments whether or not you would like weekly vlogs of this silly sock knitting, because that would mean like 3 more videos of me just doing this and rambling along about socks and yarn and maybe history and stories about the yarn. Is that something you would enjoy? Let me know. Anyway, I am enjoying these socks, and let's go for 20 rows of color number 5. Me filming an entire segment about how I like vlogging this. Also me not filming the entire heel turn. I would love to blame that on the fact that my camera's battery needed charging, but also I feel like it's rather typical. It's very me behavior. Anyway, we now have a second heel turned. I love how colors 20 and 19 just seem to want to be together. It is, of course, a very striking combination, so I'm not going to interfere with this budding romance between 19 and 20. I would, in fact, love to have this combination again in future socks. And the trend of this sock could not be more different. It's also continuing because I feel like my dice is making up for not rolling some colors. I have been having all the unrolled colors in this sock, except for 2. Up until this point, there still is not color 4 and not color 16, but I don't care as much for color 16 as it is just black. So if we don't get color 16 in the end, I shall not be malcontent. However, I would like some color 4. But for the rest, all the colors have been rolled, so the missing color 12, what else was missing? 5 was missing, 7 was missing, but we've all rolled them now. Unless we haven't rolled 14. What is 14? Yeah, 14 is also still missing. I mean, I kind of would have thought that after more than 1.5 sock, I would have rolled all 20 of my colors, but apparently not. I have been rolling many doubles, like I have 2 times color 5, 2 times color 11, and 2 times color 8 in this one. Now, this sock also looks a bit more as I was envisioning things. Like it has the shorter bits of color interspersed with longer, not as much of a blocky sock like this one is. I like this one a lot more, both in colors and just the contrast and difference in length of rows. Not the length of the rows, but like the width of the rows. As you can hear from my voice, it's still very early, so I hope I'm making sense. A next color. Color 13. We just had color 13 like 5 rows ago, and that was the first time I rolled color 13, and here we are again. That seems to be the theme of this sock, just doubling up on colors we have not rolled yet. Alia jacta est, and then suddenly you have 2 socks, 2 finished socks. I was almost going to say, and then you have a pair of socks, but that doesn't really, you know, fit the bill for these two. They are completely different. The only thing that would make them quote unquote a pair is that they both start and end with the opposing same colors. Weird sentence, but here's the thing. My first sock started with color 8 and no. My first sock started with color 20 and ended with color 8, and my second sock started with color 8 and ended with color 20. I think that is just a coincidence that is too good to be a coincidence. It was the dice gods that spoke to me and told me, yeah, well, they do kind of fit together now, and you should thank us. Thank you, dice gods, RNG gods. Very good behavior for making these two socks. I'll have you take a proper gander, a proper look at these socks. Yep, that is just complete chaos, and I love them. I love them so much. Complete chaos, but not our entire series of 20 colors completed. No. Color 4 and color 13 have still not been rolled. No, it's color 16. Color 4, 13 and 16 have not been rolled. We still have 3 unused colors. That's something I did not expect after 2 socks. There is a lot of color repeats in the second one. Anyway, 'tis Wednesday, my dudes, which is the day that you see last week's video, but also the day that I shall edit this video. The continuation of this adventure is then for next week as well, or well, the week after next week. Time is confusing and relative, but we will be continuing this adventure because, as I've said before, I kind of liked vlogging this adventure, and I want to continue doing so on a weekly basis. So next week, more of this! I hope you are excited. Hello and welcome back. Or if it is the first time, welcome to Roll for Socktober, a mini-series in which I will be rolling a D20 to determine which of these 20 colors will make it into a pair of socks and how many rows. Last week we managed to make 2 socks, 2 whole socks, but we did not manage to use all 20 of our colors, and last week I said that we were only missing 4, 14 and 16. That was incorrect. We're missing 4, 9, 14 and 16. So 20% of our 20 colors has not yet been used. This makes it very interesting for future socks. Because yes, during the entire month of October, I shall be continuing this chaotic adventure of just making the most random stripy socks you might have ever seen. Now I have a little bit, just a little bit, of an impatient disposition. So between the release of last week's video and the filming of this in this exact moment, I might have gone ahead and started sock number 3, which started with color 12 for, I guess it was 18 rows, and then color 8 for 12. To roll the first color of this second installment of a Roll for Socktober, going with color 5, of which we do not have much left, but which will make this sock look very similar to this sock. Anyway, how many rolls do we have to knit? 7 rows of color 5, or until I'm out of color 5. And then we shall have to find a replacement yarn, because that's the only bit of this color that I still have. Color 5 lives to see another day, but just barely. Color 12. This, the one we started with. Yesterday, when I was editing the footage of last week's video of part 1 of this Roll for Socktober series, I noticed something a little bit remarkable. That while I said in the beginning that these socks would be ruled by the principle of utter chaos, I spent the next 25 minutes or something trying to control the chaos. And I think that is almost symbolic for, you know, our human nature, trying to have control over the chaos, trying to have control over everything. I noticed that in myself. But then I looked at Etienne's first video where he does his Flavor of Chaos socks, which is chaotic colorwork socks. And I read in the comments people suggesting, well, maybe you could sort your colors between light and dark, and then you would have better contrast and stuff. Like, people were trying to give him tips on how to control the chaos. It's just such a human experience, I think, trying to control the chaos. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be better at it in this video, letting go. I mean, letting go, letting chaos actually rule over the socks. But because I'm going to keep my rules that I put in place last week, I'm going to keep them because I am actually a big fan of actually wearing the stuff that I make, and putting those rules in place to control the chaos in at least the slightest bit that I can, I think will ensure that I will wear them. We're going to get a little bit philosophical on main, is that I think it is just in my very human nature that I cannot let go of the control over chaos. Like, I have an image in my mind of how the socks were supposed to look, and they don't. I'm okay with that. They don't look like I imagined them, but there are some things that I cannot let go of. I cannot let go of wanting multiple stripes, wanting smaller stripes that do not exceed the number 20. I will also not let go of 3 times the same color is enough. So while I thought it was funny and really kind of a little bit of a remarkable revelation about how I was really tightly trying to control the chaos in my socks in the previous video, I'm also kind of embracing that. I'm letting go a little bit, but I'm also embracing it. Oh, and we're doing 13 rows of color number 3 right now. Sock update! The 3rd sock brought us to the 3rd season of The Mandalorian as well. Sock knitting before the television. Peak autumn activities. I tell you, it's very reminiscent of Sock 2, don't you think? Like, let me compare the two. Maybe it is just the inclusion of color 8, 12 and 5 that makes it look like they're kind of the same, but if I would wear these together, people wouldn't even notice a difference, I think, because people don't notice the things as much. So from afar, it's a pair of socks that fit. But I am now at the heel flap, and the heel flap is the final point in which I'll allow color number 12, because the cuff is color number 12. The little stripe is, and then we are here at the heel flap. No more color number 12 in the foot of this sock. It has put this curse on itself. It has been too greedy for wanting to be in the leg of this sock. Color 8, once more. Color 8 is seriously diminishing in size, so at first glance I just couldn't find it. This used to be quite a lot of yarn when we started. My bag was full, and now when I fill it with all the yarn, it's almost halfway. We're really getting through all my scraps. Nice. Anyway, color 8 once more for 2 whole rows. Now, since I had an uneven number of rows for color 12, I now have to do the weaving in as I go action on a purl row, and this is taking up a lot more brain power than if it would be on the knit row. Yeah! And with this now being an even number, I will have to continue to do so for the next couple of weaving in rows. I have been spared of this for the past 2 socks, but I fear there was no escaping. So while I'm actually dead set of proving my reputation of 2 pairs of socks in 2 weeks, it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy road from here on off. Like, I don't know if it's actually going to happen, because tonight I'll have art school. So this is the only thing I will have knit today, which is a total of 5 rows, I think. And then this weekend, my husband and I are going on a little weekend trip to Guédelon and Vézelay. I hope to bring you along with me, and I hope to bring my socks along with me, but I can't promise anything. We'll be having a lot of fun in the neo-medieval and actually medieval places that we will be visiting there. No one is surprised that we're going to France, of course. So yeah, maybe I'll see you back on Monday, or maybe I'll see you back in France. The joys of living in Europe and just drive across a border, right? There is a slight change of plans, as my car decided that driving with 2 working headlights is for the weak, and I am weak. So I didn't dare to go to art school yesterday, so progress was made. That's almost an entire sock, my friends, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. And we have finally rolled color number 4. Well, we already did roll it there, but it was only 2 rows, but now it's a visible block of color 4, so that only leaves color 9, 14 and 16 left unrolled. I realized that for my previous 2 socks I was spared a lot of, well, I'm going to say this nicely, bullshit. Oh my god, I had 3 color changes in my heel turn, 2 of which were only 2 rows, and that is having to carry that much yarn, like weaving it in as I go, while also having to purl. Yeah, that was utter bullshit. And you can see that I didn't do a very good job at it, because there is some little bits of yarn poking through. Anyway, I hope that having to carry this much yarn underneath all my stitches means that I have a very reinforced heel now. Extra thread, extra force. I still have quite a ways to go on the yellow. I need to do 19 rows of yellow, and I think I'm at 10 or something right now. So yeah, it is once again a sock with big stripes. I fear that's just going to be my destiny for the next 20 days of this month of making socks. I have almost finished 3 socks in 11 days of October. If I keep that up, I'll end up with 8 socks. At least, at minimum. Sounds like a good amount. Might be that I have to rest my hands in the second part of October. It's not that I'm feeling a repeated stress injury right now, not at all. I am knitting very casually, very calmly, but it is a lot of knitting, so I will foresee rest in the future. Also, my new set of dies has arrived. Well, I didn't need an entire set, only a D20, but I couldn't find a loose D20 in my local shop, so I do feel like these are quite a bit more legible on camera, aren't they? Bam! Full 19 rows of yellow. Let us see how much luck this new dice gives us. Number 10. Another thing I have to do, by the way, is swap my sample for 15, for 15, it's not 17, it's 15, because I ran out, and I'm replacing it with this, which is technically not a sock yarn. I mean, I didn't buy it as sock yarn, but it's thin enough to be sock yarn, so. So the dice tells me that I actually should knit 18 rows of color 7. But this is all that we have. We're done with color 7, but since we're not at home, I cannot replace color 7 in my books, so if I roll it again, it'll have to be a reroll for now, because no more color 7 from here on. Bye! Yeah.
En place. On va accrocher un petit peu en dessous, on va passer de ce côté là, et on va accrocher nos fibres de ce côté.
I'm about to start the heel flap on my 4th sock, and I can tell you that this has taken me exactly 2.5 hours. Now, how do I know that? Well, that's a little bit of a story. On my Patreon Discord, there is often some very healthy competition. Like during Tour de Fleece, people are calling one another their nemesis because they want to beat one another, but it is all very lovingly. One of my moderators is an incredibly fast spinner, and they may or may not have challenged me in my sock knitting, or maybe I have challenged them. It could be either case. Anyway, the sock knitting crown of my server is mine. I am the fastest, and I wanted to prove it. So 2.5 hours for this much. The sock knitting crown is mine. I mean, we're October 13th. This is, well, I've made 3.5 socks in 13 days. And I actually have not been knitting much Saturday nor Sunday. The sock knitting crown shall be mine. And also just the combination of these 3 yarns is so good. Like, it's very low contrast, but almost like tonal. I like it. Yeah, this bit, so good, so good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not Mambo number 5. This is 4.5 hours of sock knitting, and I am halfway with the foot. This means that I will probably have done an entire sock in 6 hours. Or thereabouts, which also means that I could, in theory, knit an entire pair of socks in 12 hours. Now, while that is all hypothetical and all, how good of a clickbaity title would that be? Knitting a pair of socks in 12 hours. Anyway, what also has happened is that there are right now no more colors that have not been rolled yet, for we have color 9 over here, color 16 over here, and this is color 14. That's all of the colors that were left to roll, and they are here in my 4th sock. So it takes 4 socks to roll all 20 colors. Speaking of all 20 colors, we had already run out of and replaced color 15. Now I have also run out of color 7, as you remember, and we're so close to running out of color 8 and 5. So I have been scouring my studio to find yarns that might fit the bill, and I found these. Now, why weren't they in my selection before? Well, these two aren't wool. I think this is a cotton. There is no focus whatsoever, right? Camera, what? Okay, so I believe this is a cotton, this is acrylic. This is wool, this is pretty new, I bought this in France, but since this was such a complete skein, like it's not entirely complete, it's 95 complete skein, I was hesitant to put it with my scraps, but it seems to be the only tinier skein of sock yarn that I have left. The other ones that I have are like full 100 gram skeins. I do not want to sacrifice my full 100 gram skeins for this, so I think we're going to go with the cotton, the acrylic, and the little skein over here. Now, only color 7 has effectively run out, and I'm going to replace it with this because it was green. For these two, we will see which one runs out first and which one I will replace it with. I am aware that refilling my colors, so to speak, will in the end make it so that these socks that I make in the beginning look a lot different from the ones that I make in the end. Like if more and more yarns get replaced with new ones, even though I don't know if I could find more yarn, but just theoretically, if we replace the yarns and in the end we have different socks, of course. But also I want to keep rolling the D20, so I will have to have 20 colors. It's the lesser of two evils, right? So there we go, here is a new color 7 in town. Asking for a friend, what is actually the current world record of fastest time for knitting a sock? I know the fastest knitting per minute is 118 stitches, and I'm not even going to count, but I'm clearly not there, so probably the person who can knit 118 stitches per minute can knit a whole sock in an hour or something. And there we go. That is a sock in under 6 hours. This is 5 hours and 3/4 of an hour to be exact. Yeah. By the end, this wasn't about being a little bit competitive with my moderator anymore. I was just so focused on wanting to know how fast I can knit a sock. Like, this is now my PR, my personal record, my personal best. I must refrain myself from the rest of October of trying to beat my own PR. I shall not do this. You remind me of this, that I shall not try and beat my PR because that would be unhealthy behavior. We're not doing it this month. No. But I am, of course, a little bit proud of myself that I am able to knit an entire sock, and it's not an ankle sock, as you can see, in less than 6 hours. I feel like that's kind of an accomplishment. Like, I can introduce myself now to people like, hi, my name is Jente and I can knit a sock in less than 6 hours. Only a small percentage of people would be impressed, but the percentage of people that would be impressed are my people, of course. Also, I like this sock. This is such a cool looking sock. Don't tell my dice, because then it will only throw that number, but I even like the inclusion of the black of color 16. Like, it's a very mysterious looking sock, magical almost, with all the purples. This is also more how I had envisioned the colors of my sock to look like in the beginning. As I said, this was not how I imagined my sock to look like. This is more like it. Like, it has the greens and the purples that are so prevalent in my yarn collection. Here we go. I have proven once more that I can knit 2 pairs of socks in 2 weeks. Very excited for that. Normally, I would also film tomorrow, but since we are now at this nice sign-off moment, I think, like, the sock is done. What better natural way to end this video? I am going to do so, of course. I'm going to give you some reveal shots of the sock number 3 and 4, but then I think tomorrow will be for next week's video. Are you ready for more sock shenanigans? Come on in. Stumbling into Socktober vlog number 3, where I have behind the scenes already started on sock number 5. Sock number 5, what the hell are you talking about, Jente? Well, a quick little recap for those of you who do not know what time it is yet. It is #Roll for Socktober time, a little collaboration that I'm doing with a couple of my creative content creator friends, where we let fate, total chaos, decide what socks to make. And somehow I have been very motivated, like to the borderline obsessive part, in making socks these past 2 weeks, which means that we have already these 4 chaos socks, and we're starting a 5th one, and it is October 15 today. I know, it sounds crazy, but it is actually true. We shall roll our trusty rusty D20 to see what the 3rd color on this sock will be. Color number 8. I wager that this is one of the only colors that up until now has been in all socks. I think only color 19 is a second one that can write it on its konto. But of course, now to find color number 8. Here we are. That is the last remnant of color number 8. So I'm not going to roll for how many rows. I'm just going to knit it with it until it's done. Those were the final 3 rounds of color 8. Goodbye color 8, you were a very good contestant and you have clearly taken your spot. You have made your mark on my chaos socks. By what color will you be followed? Color 2, yes, bright yellow. And color 2 will be for 18 rows. Yeah, we're going for bright yellow. That's clear. So this is my 5th sock. Yes, I am saying this with not a small amount of pride. It's funny because today is also the release date of my first Roll for Socktober vlog, in which I said, well, maybe we get 3 socks or 4 or maybe 5, and then 5 socks an entire month sounded like exuberant. It sounded like a hell of a lot of knitting, which it still is, but yep. Right now I am on the trajectory to knit socks for an octopus. I think it is not beyond the realm of the imaginable that we will end up with 8 socks. What am I going to do with 8 socks? Wear them, of course. Woolen socks are just, I wear them all day, every season. I just love the feeling and the comfort of woolen socks. And, you know, they look so strange and odd and chaotic and sometimes maybe even ugly when you look at them as loose socks. But when I have them on my feet, it's perfect. I mean, I just love them in every combination. 1 and 4, 3 and 2. Perfect socks. Perfect chaotic goblin socks. Happy Thursday. This means that officially you all have seen the very first active chaos sock vlog, Rolls for Socktober vlog, and yeah, I'm happy. It's a happy Thursday, also because not only have you seen the first vlog and you were all really excited about the prospect of having more of these vlogs, but also some people have been joining in a little make-along, and the first pairs of socks are also like popping up on Instagram today. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy because I didn't, like, I wanted people join in. I hoped that people would join in and that I would see all those gorgeous, gorgeous chaos socks. But I didn't expect it. If that makes any sense, but now I'm seeing all these gorgeous socks and I'm thinking that a lot of you have better curated yarn scraps than I do. It's filling my heart with joy seeing all the chaos socks just emerging this October. And this one will also be a very chaotic one, that is for sure. All the yellow and the purple is really pretty, and then we get chaos stripes. Very excited for this color combination. I just know that this will be a good sock. No matter what comes next, this is going to be a good sock just because of the very bright and colorful, happy yellow. It's going to be such a good sock. We just did 19, that's a reroll. Well, whoopsie, we just did 19, that's a reroll. Okay, 14. It's this rainbow baby. Let's hope we can get enough rows in so that at least there is a little bit of color change. Hey, then we get to use our new color 15, which is an interesting yarn. I didn't say that in previous video, but this is one that I dyed myself. I have a bigger sample if you want to see. It's a very pale pistachio, and that was dyed with literally a very obnoxious weed on my terrace. It was dyed with, I think it's called wood sorrel. Anyway, it's a kind of sorrel. It's on the screen over here if I am mistaken. If not, there will be nothing on the screen. One of my very first dyeing experiments. And I still have this. I made an entire top blouse out of it. This is left over. And I think it's just going to look so great in this sock. I'm not going to play favorites already because we're not on yet, but this is starting to look like my favorite sock of the bunch. It's just so cool. So I have officially run out of both color 8 and color 5. So let's replace the samples. I think for color 8 I'm going to keep it with the warm tones and use the pink. And then this blue as substitute for our original color 5. I'm not even going to try and break with my hands, because this is like a, I don't know, like a chainette yarn or something. It's not regular plies, or maybe it's cable plied. That could also be a possibility, but it looks really sturdy. More and more I'm replacing handspun yarns with more commercial sock yarns, and I don't know, it's kind of sad. But the thing is, I do have quite a bit of handspun scraps left. It's just that I don't trust them. They're all 2-ply and with not enough twist that I think they could be feasible sock yarns. Like, I think they would disintegrate if I walk on them like twice. So I don't trust my scrap handspun to be sock yarn right now. So it's going to be these. And I think my dice is excited for these new additions because immediately it rolls an 8. So let's go with a baby skein of baby pink. I had been getting up earlier for this Roll for Socktober series because the lighting in the morning is just better than in the evening. But right now we're in this limbo space where it's now 8 o'clock and it's only now getting a little bit lighter. It'll be from now on a lot of electrical lighting shots because there just isn't enough sunlight when I am at home. Yeah, and it isn't even daylight savings yet. First color of this silent Friday morning. Color 1. This colorful rainbow sock yarn, by the way, if you wanted to know, if you're interested, is actually yarn that Dries picked for himself. We were in Valencia. I think the shop was called Lanas di Reggio y Merveillas, but I can be mistaken. And there were so much lovely skeins of sock yarn, and I just said to him, pick one out for yourself. And this man of 2 meters, this literal giant, just picked out the most colorful rainbow sock yarn you can imagine. And then I did knit him a pair of socks with it on our honeymoon in Greece, of which I do have a video. I'm actually quite glad that I have such a big scrap of that sock yarn, because now I can wear socks with the same yarn as my husband. Yay! And I'm always baffled with how much yarn I actually have left over of one skein of sock yarn. Like, my husband has European shoe size 47, and this is not the only scrap that I have left over. 100 grams for one pair of socks is just a blatant lie. I feel like this sock is turning out to be a little bit the odd one out. It's not as moody. And that's probably because there isn't as much handspun in it. It's all, except for this bit over here, and this little bit of purple, and then this one row of yellow. It's all the commercial sock yarns, and I think, especially if you look over here, it's the handspun that gives it the moody quality. It might be my favorite sock, but it's also the odd one out. It's the one that doesn't seem to fit with the rest of it. Now, of course, this is only sock 5. There might be another one that will look similar, not as moody, and then we're all fine. Maybe this is a better view to show you what I mean. Like, it's just not as moody. While we wait for our cake to be done and the kitchen is filling itself with all these delightful baked goods flavors and smells, especially smells, I feel like this is the right time and atmosphere to finish sock number 5. Finish? Why, yes indeed, we are. Just a couple of rows from finishing the toe. This sock is like almost matching my outfit. We are assortis. Since our cake is still in the process of being baked, but yet our sock is finished, let's roll for sock number 6. It's the 19th of October and we're already rolling for sock 6. I have gone beyond what was my own wildest estimate. After not being rolled for 3 to 4 socks, color 14 is having a moment. It's in this sock twice, and now we can start with it. It's time for color 14 to shine for 3 whole rows. And with 3 whole rows, I do mean excluding cast on. I don't count the cast on as a row. I have been doing it like that for all my socks, so this is no exception. Maybe some people will say that's 4 rows, but I'm not listening to you. It seems that the more socks I make, the more I'm liking them, like both collectively and individually. I knew my idea when I was first planning it was borderline genius, but I didn't imagine it to be actually genius. Like, just look at these socks. How cool are they? Sock 5 is so wildly different from the rest, but then if you put sock 6 next to it, it just ties it in all together. Sock 6 also, once again, looks nothing like any of the previous socks, and that while it only has yarns in it that were in the original 20, so just really cool to see how many random variations you can get with just 20 colors, just rolling the dice. So the dice has decided that we should use color 10 for the gusset, like for 20 rows, so the entire gusset will be this. However, I don't think it is the most optimal choice, dice gods. Like, think better. Like, this is a very dense handspun, which makes whatever I knit with it broader than the rest, and maybe that is making my foot look weird. We'll see what happens at the end of these 20 rows, but yeah. It's once again a very old handspun sock yarn. I think it is, however, featured on this channel, so it cannot be older than 3 years, but still. It's quite dense. It's quite dense. We'll see what happens. So this morning I brought my car to the shop to get it fixed, because as I told you in a previous vlog, its headlights stopped working, and well, it also was time for some servicing. And well, I waited the entire day for the call that my car was fixed and I could come and get it. But then I called myself and was like, dudes, what's up with my car? What's up with my car? And they like forgot to call me to tell me that I couldn't pick it up again today, that they still needed some parts. Maybe you could have called me. Anyway, so while I was there, well, there being at my mom's, the entire day just waiting for my car to be fixed, even though it is not fixed, I kept on knitting, of course. And does it surprise you that I only have the grafting of the toe left to do on this sock? It's Monday. It's Monday. This vlog isn't finished. It's only Monday. I don't know if we now should be thankful to the people in the car shop for not fixing my car in time and not letting me know. Because now I have a 6th sock. I feel like around this point the dice decided that it could only choose between 5 colors. And that it did, until color 20 ran out. I don't know if I still have enough replacement yarn or any replacement yarn. I don't know, but we ran out of color 20. But maybe instead of replacement yarn, I could from here on out say that rolling at 20 is like a reward and I get to pick a yarn. Like 20 is a way out of the rules. Yeah, I think that could work. Like if I roll a 20, which doesn't happen all that much, but it happened twice in this sock, I get to pick a color. It's my reward. So it's now Monday evening and I have 5 empty sock needles. We can't have that, can we? Sock number 7. We're starting it. It's Monday, the 20th of October. I feel like I don't need to do this again next year because I will have enough socks for the coming decennium. Oh, and if I make weird faces, that's not because I don't like it. I'm just making fun of myself. And sock number 7 shall begin with 5. One of the new ones. So the dice actually says that I should knit 17 rows of color 17. I don't think that's going to happen. And then color 17 will be done. I think from here on now I will just start to phase out colors. Like next time we roll 17, it's just a reroll. I mean, we're nearing the end of October anyway, so it's not really that big of a problem, I guess. It is now Wednesday, final day of this vlog. In a couple of minutes I shall be signing off and I will see you next week for some more socks, but not before I have shown you where we're at with sock number 7, which is over here. Yes, I have once again rolled number 16. 16 really is an elusive color. This black hasn't shown up much, I think only once in the other socks. And not that I'm really sad about that, because I am not a black person. I do not have a lot of black clothing in my wardrobe, even though I am very much a metalhead, an aficionado of the better metal music, but just not an aficionado of black clothing. So I'm not mad about not having all that much black in my socks. But this is where we are at with sock 7, and the rest of it shall be for next week. Hello darkness, my old friend, come to knit some socks again. Light, I can see, I can knit. Hello, welcome to already week 4 of this Roll for Socktober mini-series where I roll a d20 to determine how my socks will look. Just to catch up a little, this is sock number 7 of this month of October and we are, well, here. So before we can start knitting again, I shall of course have to roll my trusty d20 to determine which color will be our first, well, color of this week. Let's grab my bowl. That I apparently have filled with other stuff, I'm sorry. So first up, color number 5. For 16 rows. A question for those amongst you who are not yet already fed up with all this sock shenanigans. How do you feel about a compilation of this series? Like, my 100 days of spindle spinning video is my best performing video, and I have heard from some of you that they just put that on whenever they're crafting and need someone in the background to keep them company. I could do the same thing with these videos actually. Like, would you like me to put all of my sock knitting vlogs one after the other and form it into one monster sock knitting vlog of 2 hours? I mean, I could do that. I could very gladly do that if you let me know in the comments if that is something that you would enjoy. Anyway, while you ponder over that decision, I'm gonna go ahead and edit last week's vlog, because that still has to happen. Good morning. This is a very crooked standpoint for you, and I need to hunch over to be in frame, but I'm going to keep it at that because I don't have much time right now. not in the literal sense. I do have time. However, this vlog might be shorter than the others because I had some technical difficulties. No, that's not the right word. I had some technical disaster. Wednesday evening, after filming the beginning of this vlog, I went to charge my camera's battery, as you do, and instead of giving a full orange charge light, it started blinking. That should have been the first sign that things were amiss. I wanted to shoot some reveal shots of sock 3 and 4 for the previous vlog, and then my camera said, no, I do not recognize this battery. This battery is counterfeit. I will now shut off for your safety. Either one of those is right. I don't know which one. And I cannot find my spare battery. Or I could not find my spare battery. I still cannot find my spare battery. It really is lost. But I bought 2 new batteries. So one of those is currently what is running the camera. I also bought a new charger, but that is still in the mail. I do not dare to charge my new batteries with this old charger, because what if it is the charger that is faulty, and then it will also corrupt these new batteries. And these new batteries do not come fully loaded, so I am trying to convey this message to you pretty fast so that I can do it while there still is just a little bit of juice left, even though it's also blinking. Anyway, it is Friday morning now, and I am at the heel flap of this sock. Once again, this is turning out to be a completely different sock than we are used to seeing, for there is, once again, nothing of the moody handspun, only commercial and then not so moody handspun. It kind of reminds me of a sports sock. I don't know what you think. It is, as I said, Friday morning. It is 7:45. I might knit a few rounds, but then I'm going to work. And afterwards, since my car is back from the shop and now has working headlights, I will go to art school. On Saturday I'm at my mom's, so it might be Sunday when I see you. So I will update you on the sock by Sunday, and then probably on Sunday we will spend quite some time together because we need to catch up on lost sock knitting time because of technical disasters. Good morning, it's Sunday, and my new charger arrived, which means that we're back in business. And with back in business, I mean, and no one is surprised, that I have finished my seventh sock. It really stayed in that colored toned yarns until, this orange bit. But yeah, that's a cool toned sock. Sock number 7. It also surprises absolutely no one, because I'm holding a needle in my hand the entire time, that I have already started sock 8. And that is the complete opposite of sock 7, for it is once again, hey. Anyway, as I was saying, it is once again in the warmer tones, I think up until now, but I'm going to jinx it by saying it. But anyway, this is my favorite start of a sock thus far, like the nice golden green, a little stripe of blue, and then just a gradient to red. Peak sock cuff. Well, let's hope it doesn't get entirely ruined with whatever color we roll next. Color 18. That's already in the sock, so that won't ruin it. 3 rows of color 18 and it's still cute. What's next? Color 2. Bright yellow. Haha, yeah. 20 rows of color 2 and still cute. Yes, still cute after 20 rows. Even though in like the previous videos I might have come across a little bit complaining about the big stripes. And then you gave me wholesome advice of how to remedy that, and then I did not listen to that. Why did I not listen to your advice of using a D12 or a D8 instead? Well, the answer is really simple. Time is just a concept and always the first thing to fade. You were commenting on things that for me happened 2 weeks ago, and you know that I knit 2 pair of socks in 2 weeks, so 4 socks into this adventure, I wasn't going to change it. I was not going to change my plans. I was sticking to the plan of using the D20 to roll the rows. I was already sticking to that halfway through the first sock. Like I could have frogged that, started over with a smaller die, but I did not. And actually, now that I'm looking at all 8 or well 7.5 of them, quite glad that I did. Maybe if I do this project again on a later date, I will go with the 8 or a D12. But I don't know, just looking at them like this, I think the D20 was a good choice. They do not look how I envisioned them at the very start, you know, at September 30th, but man, I love these socks. And I will be so excited to wear them once I'm done with all of this. Like, there are so many cool combinations possible with these socks, and I think it is helped a lot by the big colors, like the big blobs of color. I mean, these 2 socks, like sock, I think this is 5 and sock 8, will fit together just because they both have that really big blob of yellow. Here's also a really big blob of yellow. All this big stuff of color 8 will stand out and make those socks matching. Same with like the reds, right? Maybe I am making excuses for myself, but in the end, I'm glad that I sticked with the D20. Looking at them all together, the D20 was a good choice. I like them. And I think that's all that matters, right? Anyway, how will sock 8 continue? With color 17, which does not exist, so that's a reroll. Color 4. Yeah, some nice purple. Of course, after nearly 4 weeks, I know my colors by heart. It's the same with the pattern. I don't think I have had to look at the pattern for these socks since sock 2. I can now perfectly make a sock just out of my head. Don't need to look at a pattern, and I think it's a skill I'm very glad to have.
Totaal slapen. Gewoon een wandelingskiepjes in.
Yesterday evening, my husband and his band had a gig, and after I had completed my roadie duties, I of course continued knitting. And I don't know if you remember from previous videos in this series that saying things either jinxes it or makes things come true. And I might have said that I am now okay with the big blobs of color, so then naturally I get what I do not know whether to call a god tier or a troll tier series of rolls. We get color 4, color 9, color 3, color 12. My entire sock is purple, almost. Luckily there is this yellow and red going on, giving it some contrast, because this is a lot of purple. But that's chaos as well, of course. The risk that you could roll colors that just look almost identical. Maybe I should do, after this entire roll for Socktober thing, a sock with these four. I don't know, combination isn't bad. It's just a lot of purple. Since October is nearing the end, we are today Monday the 27th of October, I'm going to make the following executive decision. That is that I will not continue this series for the entire month. Thursday the 30th and Friday the 31st will not be included into this Socktober series. So I'm going to continue knitting until either this sock is finished or it is Wednesday, whatever comes first. I think in theory, if I continue knitting Thursday and Friday, I could have a 9th sock, but that would make my editing life so much more difficult. And if I just continue until Wednesday, that's going to be smooth sailing for me. And also 8 socks already is so abundant and exuberant and...
Jente, the word you're looking for is extravagant. It is the same word in Dutch. Please, Jente, extravagant.
Over the top, actually, that I don't think I need a 9th. I'm going to be content with just 8. She says, as if 8 socks isn't entirely crazy. Good morning. We are at the final rows of our 8th sock. It's looking incredible. Like, this is once again a sock comprising of only the original 20 colors, and it is wild. But I like this. This is the kind of wild that I want. Now, as you can see, very, very small toe. And we are probably going to roll for the final color of this hashtag Roll for Socktober project collaboration process. For we only need one more decrease and then we can graft the toe. The graft, just as the cast on, is not another row. So I'm not grafting with another color. If in the end I only roll 2 or something. Just heads up. Final color is color number 1. We started with a 20 and we're ending with a 1. Yeah, we won't need 6 rows, so that's good. Are we savoring the final moments? Are we? For you know that this is probably the last clip where you see me knitting on this sock adventure. Well, for now at least. I hope I'm not summoning any kind of foul sock monster by arranging them like this, but ta-da! All my socks together! And I would be lying if I say I didn't feel a little bit proud of this wheel, sun wheel of socks. And now for those of you who are still a little bit skeptical about the idea, the color of these socks, wait until you see the actual reveal shots, because when they are on a foot, it's completely different still. those reveal shots got you as excited for these socks as I am. They're just so good! All 8 of them. I might have complained on the way there, but now that I have all 8 socks, I am so happy. I will not need to be making any more socks in the near future, but does that mean that because I don't need to make more socks, that I will not make more socks? Well, probably not, because making all of these actually gave me such good ideas for more color combinations. And I still have quite a bit of scraps left, so I might do some palette cleansing after this, but I mean, I am still in the vibe, still in the hype of knitting socks. That's how I got 8 in a month. I was borderline obsessed with knitting socks this month. Like, I took this everywhere. As you have seen during all the vlogs, I have been places and my socks have been places. I think, however, if I would do this exact project again, I would make some changes, because if I don't, I would end up with 8 of these socks once more in a next October. And while I love them dearly, it would be great to have some variation in my sock drawer as well. So I think if I were to do this next year, or maybe the year after next, depends on if my creative colleagues, my creative friends, want to join in for another collaboration, I might go a different route. Like, I have in my 52 Weeks of Sock book, volume 2, some patterns that consists of triangles or rectangles, and maybe if I'm going to do another roll for Socktober, it would be to determine which color the next rectangle or the next triangle is going to be, and not just stripes. I'm happy with the stripes as of now, but next time I think I want something different. I also just know this pattern by heart by now. What's the challenge in making this once more? I'm going to repeat myself. I would be lying if I didn't feel a little bit proud that I could keep up my speed of 2 pairs of socks per 2 weeks, so a pair of sock in a week. When I previously did that, set that record, I was on vacation. I had actually nothing to worry about except for knitting socks and enjoying myself. This month I have, well, also gone on a weekend, but I have just been working my day job. I have been going to art school. I have been cooking and doing all the stuff around the house that one does in a month. And I still managed to do that. It is just my average speed, I guess, to be knitting a pair of socks in 1 week. I've made 8 in 28 days, so that's like 3.5 days per sock. Yeah, that checks out, that checks out. I'm very glad that I did this as a collaboration with some friends, because I really loved seeing all the socks appear. And even more so, I'm happy that I kind of opened it up with a hashtag that you could participate in as well. That just brought me enormous joy to be tagged in your socks, looking at all the different ways that people interpreted the roll for Socktober. There have been very good socks made this past month. And again, if you would like to see a compilation of my 4 videos, tell me down in the comments. If you want to see the other videos that were made during Socktober, take a look at the playlist, which shall be in the end card in a couple of minutes, and also in the description. And anyway, if you like these kind of Irish shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe, but of course that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you in a next video. But before we do that, maybe you could look at that playlist I mentioned. Bye!